I'm Travis, and this is how I do things. It is finally springtime here in Wisconsin, so I thought I would share my top 3 beginner woodworking projects using nothing more than fence pickets. If you're interested in following along, look down below for my detailed woodworking plans. Fence pickets are great for beginner woodworking projects because they're cheap, they can be purchased at just about any big box store, and they're made of cedar, which is naturally rot resistant. So it's especially great for outdoor projects. If you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more woodworking project videos like this. Let's build a bird feeder out of a single cedar fence picket. The plans include a list of materials as well as a detailed cut list with instructions to build this bird feeder with ease. I'll be following my own plan, so the first thing I need to do is cut all of my pieces according to my cut list. While you're cutting, don't forget to wear your safety gear, including a dust mask. You don't want to be breathing in the cedar dust, which can cause lung irritation and possibly cancer. I'll be doing most of my cutting with my miter saw and a few cuts on the table saw. It is possible to do this with a circular saw or a jigsaw, but using the tools I'm using just make it a lot easier and safer. I'm doing a lot of other things to keep the dust down so my air quality isn't bad right now. I also like to mark each of the pieces along the way so when it comes time to assembly, it'll be super easy. Most of these cuts are pretty straightforward and can be done on the miter saw. The side pieces for the bottom will need to be ripped down to 1 inch on the table saw and then miter cut to a 45-degree angle on the miter saw. These side pieces are going to be a little bit more complicated because they have some angle cuts and a groove that holds the plexiglass. For these pieces, start by cutting them to length and then temporarily attach them to each other. You can do this with double-sided sticky tape. Then I'll mark out the angles following my plans and then cut both pieces at the same time. This is faster, but it also ensures the 2 pieces will be the same. This ended up being a little sketchy on the miter saw. It might have been better to just clamp this piece down and use a jigsaw. Next, I'll cut grooves 3/8 inch deep on the side pieces using my table saw. These grooves are to slide the plexiglass into. I'm using 1/8 inch plexiglass with an 1/8 inch curved blade on my table saw. If you don't have a table saw, you could also attach the plexiglass to the face of the piece with screws. I'll talk more about this later. There are some small pieces that need to be cut. I'm going to be very careful to cut them with a combination of the miter saw and a hand saw. These pieces are just to allow a gap at the bottom of the plexiglass so the bird seed can come out. The roof pieces will need a 20-degree bevel cut so they fit together nicely at the top. I'm also going to carefully cut my plexiglass on the table saw. Now that I have all my pieces cut, I can start assembly, but first I like to sand everything. Pre-sanding all the individual pieces now is way easier than trying to completely sand all the pieces after it's assembled. However, I will do a quick sand again after assembly when filling in the nail holes. I didn't have my sander hooked up to my dust extractor, and my air quality meter reminded me why it's important to use your dust mask. Now we're ready to build the base assembly. This assembly is just a 10-inch piece of cedar fence picket with 1-inch pieces attached to the sides to keep the bird seed in the feeder. I'm using Titebond 3 wood glue, which is waterproof, and 1 1/2 inch brad nails. Then I'll grab the side pieces, center them up, and then mark their location. Then I'll pre-drill some holes from the top and then attach the side pieces with wood glue and 1 5/8 inch exterior screws from the bottom. Next, I'll use some CA glue to glue these spacers in place. Before I install the plexiglass, I want to fill the holes and finish it. Be sure to finish the roof pieces as well. To fill the holes in something like this, I just put a little wood glue in the holes and then sand. The sawdust mixes with the glue and does a nice job filling the holes. Then I'll just finish all the pieces with tung oil for a nice natural finish to help the cedar last even longer. I mentioned earlier that you can install the plexiglass with screws instead of cutting these slots in the sides. If you want to do that, just pre-drill a few holes in the plexiglass and then screw it to this face. Just make sure you use nice flat screws or washers so you don't crack the glass. I have slots, so all I need to do is slide the plexiglass in place. There should be a small gap at the top to allow airflow to keep the seed fresh. Next, grab one of the top pieces and attach it to the top with wood glue and brad nails. You'll need a way to fill the bird feeder, so I'm going to attach the other side of the roof with hinges. I put a link to these down below. Just screw these in place about 1 inch from the edges using the included screws. I don't want our bird seed to get moldy after it rains, so I'll drill 4 small holes in the bottom near the corners. Our bird feeder is all done, and you have 2 options to install this thing. The first option is to use some picture frame hangers on both sides with stainless steel wire. Just screw them on and feed the wire through the slot in the roof. Depending on the wire or chain you use, you might need to open up the slot a little bit on the ends. If you have a wooden fence post you want to attach it to, just remove one side of the roof and the plexiglass. Then set it on top of the fence post and run long screws through the middle, then reassemble. Now just fill up your feeder with some bird seed and enjoy watching the birds. And now that you're feeding the birds, you've got lots of birds around. So in this next video, I'll show you how to build a simple birdhouse for them to make a nice cozy nest in. The first thing I need to do is cut all of my pieces according to the cut list in my plans. Be sure to label all your pieces once they're cut. You can actually make nice straight cuts with a circular saw using a straight edge as a guide. So I'd just like to point out that you can absolutely do this with 1 plank, but I bought 2 just in case I screwed something up. And I did screw something up, so I'm gonna have to cut 1 piece out of my new plank. One of the roof pieces needs 1 thickness of a board ripped from 1 edge. It's best to just use a board to mark this instead of a dimension, because this will account for any variation in thickness. Once marked, I carefully made the cut with my jigsaw. While I had my jigsaw out, I also cut the 45-degree cuts for the roof of the front and back pieces. Do not use a circular saw for these cuts. The pieces are way too small and it would be very dangerous. 1.5 inches is kind of a general size for a birdhouse hole. However, if you're trying to attract a certain type of bird, you may want a different size hole, so be sure to do your research first. Now you can cut this hole by drilling a hole and then cutting it out with a jigsaw. However, I have this nice 1.5 inch Forstner bit, so I'm going to use that. When using a hole saw or Forstner bit, start with a small pilot hole as a guide. Then cut halfway through with the hole saw or Forstner bit. Then flip the board over and cut the rest of the way through. This will leave a nice clean hole with no tear out. Before assembly, you should sand everything. Doing most of the sanding before assembly is much easier and will save time. My plans have very clear instructions on how to assemble all the components, and to assemble all the components I'll be using wood glue and brad nails. To be more specific, I'll be using Titebond 3 wood glue, which is waterproof and is perfect for outdoor projects. Use a glue spreader to spread your glue and be sure to get a nice even coat of glue on the entire edge. And as you can see, I am using a brad nailer, but if you don't have a brad nailer, you could also use finishing nails and a hammer or wood screws. Whatever fastener type you decide to use, be sure to install it centered and perpendicular to the surface. Otherwise, this could happen. To fix this, I'll just break off the nails with pliers and add new nails. I'll fill the holes later before sanding. After you attach the pieces together, wipe off any excess glue that might have squeezed out. A little glue squeezing out is fine. If a lot of glue squeezes out, you're using too much. Now continue gluing and fastening all the boards together according to the plans. Install the last roof piece with no wood glue, just screws. This will allow you to easily remove it later to clean it out. It also helps when installing it. To do this, I marked out my hole locations and then drilled some countersunk holes to hide the screw heads. Then I used a punch to mark where the holes needed to be on the birdhouse. Then I pre-drilled some holes for the screws and then installed the panel. I use stainless screws so they won't rust. And when you're all done, it should look something like this. I like to fill my holes by putting a little wood glue in the hole and then just sanding. I like this method because it fills the hole fast and the filled hole has a similar color to the wood around it. Cedar is naturally rot resistant, but just to bring out the color of the wood and protect a little bit more, I'm going to use a little bit of Odie's oil. Odie's oil is totally natural, so it's also safe for the birds. To apply Odie's oil, all you need to do is literally just work it into the surface and you're done. It's a piece of cake. To install your birdhouse, you can remove the cleanout panel and drive screws into a tree or pole. Or you can install some threaded eyes here right on the top and hang it from a tree. The birds are happy, but the backyard still needs something. So in this video, I'll show you how to make a nice little flower planter with your cedar fence pickets. First, take a look at the materials and tools required to make sure you have everything before you start. Now that I know I have all my tools and materials, I'll follow my plans to make sure I have all the pieces cut that are in my cut list. If you're using a Craig rip cut and a circular saw to rip these thinner pieces, be very careful. In this case, the table saw is actually much safer for cuts like this, as long as you use a push stick and your saw has a riving knife. Take your time making all of your cuts. I like to try to do as many tasks as I can with one saw before moving on to another. It wastes a lot of time going back and forth. A zero clearance insert not only improves the quality of the cut, but it also minimizes the risk of pieces of wood falling down along the side of the blade. I have a small workshop and I have to move my dust collector every time I change saws, so this type of workflow is especially important to me. I like to mark out all of my miter cuts. This makes it very clear where I need to cut, but is also a check to ensure my miter saw is cutting an accurate 45-degree cut. For the bottom piece, you'll want to drill some drain holes. This allows excess water to drain so the roots don't rot. Plants' roots need airflow. You could use a hole saw, but I like using Forstner bits to drill holes. You just get a cleaner hole. If you want a super clean hole, drill a pilot hole, then drill halfway through. Then flip the board over and drill the rest of the way through. Now that I have all my pieces cut out, I'm going to be doing most of my sanding before I do any assembly. This will save you a ton of time. For this project, I'll sand everything with 80 and 120 grits sandpaper. This isn't a fine piece of furniture, so there's no need to get crazy here. I'm going for more of a rustic look on this project, but if you have a planer and you want a finer finish, you could save yourself a lot of time by running the boards through the planer before you cut them. And then once you're completely sick of sanding, sand just a little bit more and then you're ready for assembly. To assemble this, I'm going to use Titebond 3 wood glue, which is waterproof when dry, and 1 1/2 inch brad nails. First, I'm going to assemble the top trim piece because the inner part of this defines the size of the box. Sometimes it's helpful to use blue painter's tape to hold your joints together when gluing miter or bevel joints. Now I'm going to build the box into the top trim pieces with more wood glue and brad nails. Wood glue is very strong once it dries. I sort of use the brad nails as clamps just to hold everything together until the glue dries. Be sure to align the sides of the box with the edges of the top trim pieces. This is more important than getting the corners to line up because they will get covered by the legs later. Now I'll attach the bottom with silly putty and toothpicks. Just kidding, just checking to see if you're paying attention. More wood glue and brad nails. I sound like a broken record. Nail evenly around the bottom of the box like this. Now I'm going to grab all these pieces and build the legs. For assembling these legs, I like to use blue painter's tape. It really helps hold the joint together until I can get a couple of brad nails in there. I'll just keep going until I have all legs built up. Finally, I can install the legs onto the planter. What do you guys think I'm using to install them? Yeah, you guessed it, wood glue and brad nails. Once I'm done, I check over the planter to make sure no brad nails are poking out. If you see any, just snap them off with pliers. Now I'm going to use every lazy woodworker's favorite technique for filling holes. I'm talking about wood glue and sanding. You guys thought I was going to say brad nails, didn't you? Get over it, people! If you don't know how to use this technique, it's pretty simple. You rub a little wood glue into the holes and then sand. The sawdust from the sanding mixes with the wood glue to create the perfect wood filler. It seriously does work well. You can barely see the holes when you're done. The only problem is that it's really hard in your sanding discs, so you'll need to replace them more often. Once all the holes are filled, I give the entire thing a final sanding. Now that the planter is done, I'm going to apply my finish. You can use any finish you want here. In fact, you can use no finish if you want to let it gray naturally. I'm going to use some tung oil. If you're using the planter for fruits or vegetables, you may want to skip the oil on the inside and just leave it natural. It seems like that'd be a healthier option. Thanks to a little work and some cheap cedar fence pickets, the yard is looking good. Don't forget to grab your plans for these projects down below. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Happy building. I'll see you on the next one.